will be in a little bit. He's doing some stuff on the road for us, and we have Becky here. And welcome back to Gameface Monday, and we got great solutions for you here, like always. And Becky, we have Becky. We're so happy we have Becky talking about special finance and how important special finance is today to our consumers. Becky, I'm glad to see you, and I'm glad to have you back on the show. I'm so grateful for you being on this show, and I want to talk to you about special finance, what you're seeing today versus what tomorrow was, and where are we headed towards the present?
Oh gosh, that's a heavy question, because I wonder if dealers realize what's happening behind the scenes as far as the information that is available to customers, and even our subprime customers, well before they even make their way into a dealership to purchase a vehicle. And those are customers too that have some subprime credit. And I think it's important to point out that many of these customers kind of already know that they're in a bind, but they don't want to get dragged through the mud either. So if there are other providers that are offering the customer the ability to do some of this heavy lifting before they make their way into a dealership, meaning they're willing to offer the customer the ability to do some of the self-desking in advance, then they're likely going to go there, meaning that customer is likely going to utilize some of those tools to be able to do some of the self-desking capability before they get into the dealership to determine kind of where they stand based off of what type of vehicle can they likely get approved for, what they budget for, based on those variables. And I think that that's really important, that dealers give consumers the ability to do some of that heavy lifting before they make their way into the dealership. And so that's happening right now. And but then we're still dealing with the 80s, 90s mentality that things are always the same. So so many of these dealers don't even have the digital retailing in place. And so now customers are coming into a dealership, and frankly, they don't have their sales staff trained to manage this business in a couple ways. Number one, in being compliant, and number two, being more profitable. And if you don't have the training in place, train up your staff to understand a certain process that you really need to put in place to support that business, to do a better job. And instead of dragging the customer through the entire day, trying to land the customer on the right car to begin with, instead today, as we know, some of these customers are coming into the dealership and we put the customer on one car only to drag them through the mud and eventually try to find the vehicle that actually works for them. And that can take literally all day. And the frustrating part about this whole thing is that it affects the salesperson. And this is why we have massive turnover in dealerships. I think that's part of it because of the training. But it's also, after a while, it gets pretty darn frustrating to have to land a customer on a car and then find out the customer doesn't qualify, only to take them off the car, or we send the customer into the F&I office only to have the profits drained out of the deal because we can't get the deal approved because it's not going to work. And the only way to make the deal work is by cutting the profit. So when you have that happening, you can imagine that the salesperson is doing what? Pointing fingers at the F&I department or sales management and saying, well, all I do is put a customer in a car and all you do is take the profit out of the deal to make this whole thing come together. So it gets really ugly.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, as you know, David Bennett from Cars Direct, right, they have a great solution. So when I refer him to a dealership, right, and the dealerships that he's got, some of them don't do a great job. So here's the thing. He gives them 100 leads, right? So out of those 100 leads, they say they sell 8 or 10 cars, okay? Now, and he's got a tremendous process with SMS, with all that. He makes the appointment show, okay? But the biggest problem that I see that there is customers are okay with whatever car they get. But the LTV in the dealership is so high with 120, 125. So when I go visit these stores that get these leads, I see it in black and white. I see a customer with a little bit of not bad credit, but a little bit of challenge credit, okay? And you want to provide this customer with the right solution for them, right? It benefits them. But the LTV is high, but that's not the only problem that I see. They get a payment call, and that, because the budget, it doesn't fit with the customer's budget. And then the finance people, what they do is they send it everywhere, right? At least out here. And what happens with that process is you got a real problem. Your LTV is 125% or 130%. You're not delivering a car. Even with great credit, you have a little bit of a hiccup trying to get that deal. What are your thoughts on that, Becky?
Well, actually, it's kind of ironic. I'm working with, and I really can't talk too much about this, but I am working with a platform provider who really has, and it's a big deal, but they have actually created a dashboard of sorts that helps a car dealer to manage those variables and in a very quick and efficient way. And this will help the sales manager. Even in some stores, they actually have sales people, believe it or not, that are utilizing this tool, this dashboard tool. And in an instant, it can literally help the dealer to manage the transaction, and then it bases those variables, the budget, credit, that sort of stuff, and the advances on the inventory that they have. And it's actually dialed in even better than ProMax used to be. ProMax, I don't know if ProMax is still out there or not, but it's even better. It's a much better tool. And I'm really getting into that because the ability, first of all, to determine who are you working with, and credit your Cars Direct, David Bennett. He's awesome. He's terrific. We had him at the Baltimore Evan I Roundtable. It was great to have them attend. And yeah, they have the leads. The thing is, their leads are fine. It's what you're doing with those leads that matter, like you said. And if you're not managing that book of business correctly, you're not going to be effective. And if you're putting the customer on the wrong car and the advances don't check out for the bank, everybody loses. I mean, the customer doesn't win because they can't handle the payment. And then, of course, the last thing you want to be able to do is you still want to be able to sell the customer. I would want to assure that my customer, especially a customer who has some slow pay derogatory credit, I want them to have a service contract. I want to make sure that customer is leaving out protected before they leave the dealership. And, the last thing I want is that customer having to figure out, do I make a car payment or do I fix my car, right? So we want to reestablish that customer's credit, and we want to put them on better terms 3 years down the road. So when they're back in the dealership, right, they're back in and we have better business, and we know that when we retain that business, feedbacks are always the best business. So we cultivate that. But to get back to where you it starts from the very beginning. And every time I go into a dealership, this is where I start. And some of the guys go, start in F&I, Beck, start in F&I. Well, I hear you, but it's like, as I said last night on my F&I on the Edge show, it is about a restaurant. Just think of a restaurant. You get the order coming in, and once you have the order coming in, if it's not correct, guess what? It comes out. The food doesn't come out right.
Said that because that F&I Edge show you got, it's amazing. I share it, I watch it, and it's very informational. And I got to tell you something, it's a great show. That being said, I'm going to go for a break now, and we'll be back within 2 minutes. Just we'll take a look at this video we got up there, and we'll be right back.
Hi guys, Becky Chernek here, president of Chernek Consulting. We provide the very best in finance and insurance training for automotive, recreational, and allied industry professionals since 2001. I'm announcing my newest F&I Dealer Roundtable live webinar events. You got to be here. All about all the topics, what's taking place in our industry today. I'm taking it online. It's a convenient way for our dealers and managers to keep up with what's happening in the industry, to stay on top of your game. I realize your time is valuable, so that's why I made the live webinars short, informative, fun, and interactive. I guarantee you'll get the best out of this 1 hour live event from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, December the 6th. I'm inviting the best talent to join in these conversations to discuss what it takes to be a huge success in sales and F&I. Make sure to register at fniprofits.com. It's all about how to boost your service contract sales. Learn all the greatest secrets of selling F&I. It's live F&I Dealer Roundtable webinar hosted by Becky Chernek. Open to dealer principals, retail management, and allied industry professionals. So as some may know, I have been in the automotive retail industry my entire life and in the trenches, in and out of dealerships throughout the USA and Canada, which means I know a little something about the business and how to help you be as highly successful as you can be. I'm also the host of the F&I Today show on CBT Automotive Network, so make sure to check out all my episodes. Let's face it, many think that F&I is easy. Well, it's not as easy as it looks. And I'm here to help you to stay relevant and perform at your highest level.
Becky, how are you? So I want to make the introduction with Chris. Becky, that's some video. Becky, let me tell you something.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something, Becky. You look like you're 25 years old. I don't know how you're doing, but great job. Now, listen, I want to make the introduction with Chris, formal introduction. Chris is a great finance guy, right? He does special finance. So over a decade ago, Chris started a company that helps the consumers. Now, Chris wants to help the consumers. That's what he's about, okay? You got to care for your people first. Nobody cares how much you know until you start really caring. And I really analyzed his company in the last months and seen he really cares about customers. Okay, he wants to repair it and fix it, and he's got a great solution, because what I've seen the behavior, Becky, is like this. When a customer hits his age of 24, 25, he starts buying a car. His neighbor gets a car, they go buy another car. They become upside down, right, traditionally. So what happens is not that they're bad people, it's that the situation puts them in a bad state of mind and bad financially. So then they become a subprime customer by the time they're 40. So even though today there's Credit Karma, people don't monitor. Remember, inspect, don't expect. So it goes the same thing through your credit and through life. So that's why Chris has a great solution, and we have enough data about new car buyers and customers that have a little bit of challenge credit, not really bad, a little bit of challenge credit. They can't get an automobile because they shop at least 4 or 5 stores. And as we know, in F&I, and there's a truth in lending law, if you get turned down in ABC Motors, CDE Motors can't get you approved unless they change the entire structure of the deal, add a co-signer, or change the whole structure. So it just doesn't work. If a dealer doesn't have it, that dealer, don't shop, because you're just getting your credit bad. So that being said, Chris, tell us about your solution.
Becky, first and foremost, pleasure to meet you finally after a long time. I know we share a lot of things, especially in F&I. My background's in finance. I also teach F&I, and I think that, I was listening to the show prior to getting here, and a lot of what you were talking about, I think, tie into what we've been talking about for some time, Richie, and that is, retention. What is the dealer's strategy to get these consumers back to the dealership and to a point where they're financeable or leasable, or where we could help them with their monthly payments? And I think that it's a big issue with not just our industry, but in the funding industry as a whole. And so I created a company called Apex Credit Fix 10 years ago, where I started out just dealing with funding companies. I had mortgage companies that were referring me business just to help them maybe remove inquiries off a client's credit bureau. or help them with removing collections and stuff like that. And our dealers today spend hundreds of thousands of dollars driving traffic into their business just to have maybe 30% of that business turned away due to bad credit. So I said, what is the strategy to get those people back into the dealership? Or if that customer is going to swallow a higher payment because of their current situation, what is the strategy for 3 years to get them to a more comfortable standpoint? Also, our finance managers are just doing the click, 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 shotgun that deal to 5, 10 lenders, and now that customer is stuck with inquiries for two years on that credit file. You know, what's the strategy? So I thought it ties in perfectly, and I'll allow you to elaborate on that and give us your opinion.
Well, thank you, and it's nice to meet you as well. And thank you again, guys, for having me on this afternoon. But I couldn't agree with you more. I think the overall picture is we have to do a better job by treating that subprime customer like a real customer and not feel as if it's okay to prey on the subprime customer. And I also believe that by treating the subprime customer right to begin with and getting them on the right vehicle to begin with that they actually qualify for and where they can afford those payments, you're going to get a whole heck of a lot better customer and retain that business. And nothing is better when you take care of that customer and they're coming back 3 years down the road, and we can get them into another type vehicle and their financing, has, they've been reestablished, and that's a good thing. And so this is one of the things that I definitely encourage dealers to have a better understanding. It's, let's do the right thing the first time out, so we're retaining more business in the future. And we're only talking 2 to 3 years down the road when we can get the customers back, get them out of those vehicles and into another vehicle that they can afford, and likely with a much better, hopefully with a better interest rate, right, to go along with it. But it takes the entire team to make it work.
Right.
It takes from sales, that whole culture has to be, they have to have a better understanding of how this works. And like you said, and I said last night, I was on a roll last night when I did my F&I on the Edge deal, and I'm frustrated. I think it's getting worse. We have sales managers on the desk who have never been to F&I school, who have never been in F&I. Many of these guys still, and it's not everybody, because I work with some very talented desk guys. But I will tell you, there's a lot on that desk that don't belong there.
Right.
And they are creating a huge problem. They don't know how to work deals. They don't understand deal structure. And like you said, that's all they know how to do is shotgun deals to 10 or 15 banks until they get their best approval. Problem with that is they're actually costing themselves profit. Because as I said last night, a $500 or $750 difference in down payment could make a big, big freaking difference, right? And what bank's going to pick up, if you know what you're talking about and doing.
Right.
And, just that deal structure.
Or even knowing something as simple as what credit bureau that lender's going to pull. Listen, they don't all use TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. If you know what scores better, you can, it's taking a more proactive approach to the deal. And I think you hit it on the nail on the head. And it's, our desks today and for a long time don't have that F&I experience. So when we talk about path, would you recommend sales, finance, then as a sales manager?
As a process,
Yeah.
I think, and as Richie and I were talking about, things are changing in the industry. Like, believe it or not, things are actually changing behind the scenes. And I think dealers need to get on board with this digital retailing. And I think that we should give customers the ability to do some of the self-desking earlier on online. That's the first touch point, and really be able to, and even develop our BDC to be able to address customer-specific questions when it comes to this. And I think we need to be a lot more proactive when it comes to texting our customers and engaging with our customers earlier on. The day, where we would say, we're not talking specifics until the customer gets into the F&I office, I'm telling you right now, is gone. And that is even with that subprime customer, because customers do have other options options that are available to them through other providers. Let's face it, third-party providers, they're in on this whole deal. Carvana, they know how to work a subprime customer. CarMax knows how to work a subprime customer, believe it or not. That's why they do as well as they do. So again, I just think that the sooner that we're involved in and engaged with that customer earlier on, and training up our BDC, training up how we work with our sales staff, and answering and addressing those questions, and even in the desking process is huge. So for an example, in the Baltimore F&I Roundtable, we had James Ganther, who is an attorney and he also owns Mosaic. Almost lost that. Mosaic, and he's a great guy. He's been around for a very long time. He's an attorney, knows his stuff, and in fact, right now he's involved in several lawsuits with some as an expert witness, and for a couple car dealers that are going down for this. But basically, what's happening is that dealers are pulling credit. Even when the customer's not landed on a car, as soon as they almost get out of the car that they're in, they pull credit. And I quite get what they're doing and why they're doing it, but it's actually not legal.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually better maybe utilize other tools. TurboPass is a great tool to be able to determine who is this customer. Is it real? Employment, income, that's important to establish earlier on as soon as you can. Get to the truth as soon as you can in the deal. But at that point, it means that we need to listen to the customer. We need to bring the customer in. We need to set the customer down. We need to determine those factors, and we just need to do a better job of asking the deal.
Listen, it all revolves around one thing: training, right? Systems, processes, the right training in your store, creating that recipe for success. Taking that more proactive approach. So, listen, Becky, we want to thank you for being here today, and we hope our dealers reach out to you. I know you're launching your live training soon. Is that correct? Do you want to elaborate a little more on that before we close?
Oh, thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate that. I am going to have my webinar, and my first webinar is the F&I Dealer Roundtable webinar, and that is going to be on December 6th. Now, this particular one, they're all going to be, I'm going to have webinars throughout the year, but this particular one, the first one, is complimentary to our dealers, and it's all in how to boost your service contract sales. And so I also hope to have another webinar in the near future with regard to subprime. So hopefully I can get you to be a guest on that.
Let's
one.
go. I'm in.
That's awesome. That would be awesome.
So first one is when?
The first one's going to be December the 6th. I'm sorry, Friday, December the 6th. And
What
that's
time?
going to be 1 to 2 p.m., but that's a webinar.
Eastern Standard specific?
Eastern Standard Time.
We got you. Okay. December 6th.
What is it?
December
We're
6th.
tuning in.
Awesome.
And listen, we hope our dealers reach out to you to get some of your knowledge and experience. Listen, the world that, as you said, is
I'm
changing.
telling you right now, I got to tell you right now, I know we got to close here, but I've got an amazing platform that by the time I get you on that show, you're going to love this. This is a game changer big time when it gets to helping a dealer have a quick dashboard to getting those variables down before they put the customer on the wrong car. I'm telling you, this thing rocks. Trust me.
On the note of game changer.
Right. I want to keep, Becky, I want you to keep in mind, you said something about the business is going through a whole process and through changes. Let me tell you one of the biggest changes, and I'm announcing this now. The marketplace of Facebook has tremendous amount of leads. The dealers don't know what to do with them. They don't understand the chat. 6 or 7 months ago, me and my partners have developed using the artificial intelligence, and we're ready to announce this probably by February, and I already have a sample. Using artificial intelligence, you got to give me the data of your chat for the last 30 days. We upload that. Using artificial intelligence, we set up appointments. We send out a PDF of the vehicle. It's all a software, no human interaction, okay? And it's all automated. And it's based on the information that your chat on Facebook has in the last 30 days. So the system learns as it goes. Like the heating system in the house, right? That it's artificial intelligence too. There's all kinds of stuff that goes as it. Let me tell you something. There's a tremendous opportunity in this marketplace. Some dealers are saying this is more trouble than it's worth. When they say that to me, I listen, I said, aha, I see what the problem is. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't understand even how to reply because it's a different customer. Totally different customer. It's not the same. And a lot of those customers that I've noticed have a little bit of challenge credit. And when they ask the chat, and I have all this data, guys, you're telling these customers that they don't qualify for a vehicle. Oh my God. I know so many stores in this marketplace that are doing that. Just keep that in mind. There's a new product that's going to come out with this chat. That marketplace, take it serious because it's only going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger. And we have the data of what's going on there. So just that in mind. Becky,
I know you always have the data. You're the data king.
I always got the data. I'm always looking into new solutions and new way to increase our productivity in this industry because, and let me say this, why I do that, okay? I do that for one reason. When a dealership goes out of business, you're talking about 80 people in your marketplace minimum that are out of a job. It's killing the local economy. What Amazon's doing is killing the local economy anyway, but I don't want to add towards a disaster in our local economy because it's terrible what's going on. It's really, really, really bad. And I'm in another industry that is so important for me, the local economy. It's the catering business, okay? And leads in the car business are $35. Guess what? A lead in the catering business is $350. It's really bad. So that's why I'm always trying to build new solutions to help the local economy because, guys, it's all about the local economy. You want where you live to be very well off. And that's what I pride myself in. Becky, I'm so pumped up about your round table. I am so happy. I mean, you're always doing these round tables. I mean, the best of luck, and I want to see you very soon. Hopefully, I can jump on an airplane and see you in Georgia within the next few weeks. I'm looking forward for a trip over there in about 2 weeks. I know you were with Synergy and Gene Fontana just a week ago where you guys did something together. We're not ready to make that announcement yet, but soon we will. And thanks a lot for being there. And now talking about Game Changer, this kid, El Patron, this kid, let me tell you something. This kid is amazing. This kid, I mean, I talk to him all the time, you know. This kid is like so much talent. One human being possesses so much talent. He's doing this Game Changer. You know, he approached me about this a while ago, and I said, hey, okay, yeah, sure. You know how I am, right? Okay. But this kid is amazing. I mean, everything he touches, this guy really works hard, has the talent, and it's like a firecracker. He's got tons of energy. I feed off his energy. You know, I call him just to get more energy because, as you know, I'm getting old already. I'm 55 years old. I'm done, you know? So I need new blood, new energy around me all the time. You know, I definitely don't want to be part of the Dead Pecker Club. Not interested.
I can't believe he just said that on air.
No, I would say that.
I said Hecker.
Yeah.
H-E-C-K.
Becky, you know that I can get away with murder. I always did, right? I'm the only guy out there that gets away with, forget it, right?
With it all.
Unbelievable.
So let me bail him out over here. Let's take a few minutes to hear from our sponsor, my good friend Rudy T, a.k.a. Al Patron, Game Changer Conference, Part 2, right? In Miami, 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's an event you won't want to miss. I was at the last one. I was one of the panel speakers. We had an amazing time. And talk about training and mindset. Listen,
wow.
An idea put down on paper becomes a plan executed becomes reality. You guys be absolutely amazing, and let's check it out.
Here we go. Game Changer.
What up, guys? Petroni, how are you? They call me the $1 billion GM. Guys, I want to congratulate you for joining a 25,000 giveaway, but I'm going to give you guys 20 more chances, okay, to win the extra $25,000 giveaway, okay, so if you register. Now, guys, Game Changer Conference, right, 2020 is right around the corner, and you guys know that there's a lot of changes happening in the car business, so I'm going to show you exactly how I took, my dealership to the next level, right? This is my 6th dealership that I turned around. I got the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Eric Thomas, you guys know him. And I also have Alex Vetter, CEO of Cars.com, a keynote of my event. So I'm also gonna show you methodologies that I use at the dealership and also for my brand, how to take you to the next level in 2020. And new decade's just days away. So sign up today, all right, for 2020 and Game Changer Con. Let's make this happen and see you guys in Miami. Peace.
So Richie, what are your thoughts on this conference? I mean, Rudy's pulled in some talents like Eric Thomas, who really lights the audience on fire. Alex Vetter, CEO of Cars.com, as a keynote, and a full line of promises to make 2020 the next decade a real game changer for dealers, managers, and top performers.
Now, here's what I got to say about that. There's all these conferences, right? There's a difference between Game Changer and all these conferences. Rudy is day-to-day, like you are, day-to-day in a dealership. So when you bring that person to a conference, you got real life experience versus, now everybody knows I can't read, right? So the content that I have is up here. I don't role play it or anything, right? So that's different. That's life experience, okay? That's A/B testing, okay? That's really seeing, okay, let me try this. That doesn't work. I'm going to try this. A trainer goes in and trains based on the content, trains and see if it works. Brandon Haddison, right? The other guy that was out here this weekend, he was in the studio 4 hours doing videos, okay? He works as a corporate trainer for the Jim Ellis groups. Mm-hmm. So he's on fire. He's on there. By the way, they're going to the Game Changer. I want to make an announcement. Brandon and a few of his team members are going. Major group, the Jim Ellis Auto Group, they're going. Okay. So now I'm going to say this to you. It's so important that you're on hands and you do it. And that's what Rudy does.
Yeah.
When you were at Plaza, one of the things that I respected from you so much is you're on hands. You do a meeting, you're on hands. Working managers. Yeah. Some guys are not working managers.
Yeah, he's completely transparent. I mean, what you see is actually what he's doing. He's at that store every day. He's interacting with his staff. He's talking to customers. He'll have customers call him. I mean, he's really hands-on. And that's what you have to be. And that's what the world and business is demanding, a transparent experience.
Correct.
And he creates that environment over there. So my hat goes off to Rudy and this conference. I hope to see you there. Before we wrap up today's show, we just want to share once again our Christmas party on December 4th at the Beach Club. It should be a blast. All are invited with their guests.
Right, correct. And here's the thing, the site's up, richiebello.com. Click on it, and it says Christmas, Christmas, right? Take a look at that site. Just fill out your form. No question asked. I don't care where you're from. It don't matter to me. You can be from not even in Long Island. You want to fly out here, or you got. But let me make a few announcements. David Bennett from Cars Direct is going to be there, okay? Rudy, and there's a bunch of vendors like Barry from that appraisal company. He's amazing, okay? I'm going to have tremendous vendors there. It's all on us, guys, all on our vendors. And I want to thank the vendors for supporting me with the Institute. And let me tell you something, especially my good friend David Bennett from Cars Direct. I appreciate him so much. And he's going to be there with his with a guy there that's in the area. So he's coming out, and he's going to be there. And it's going to be great. It's going to be a great event. El Patron's going to be there. Chris Gonzalez is going to be there. I mean, I'm so blessed because you know what? Like I said the other day in the post, real wealth is not money. Real wealth, you know what it is? It's resources and tools, because that equals big money. Because when you have the resources and the tools, now you capture talent. And when you capture that talent, you maximize and you grow. It's like a snowball effect. So, and you know what? I didn't come up with that post. I saw somebody post that, and it was really, really interesting. And I put a little twist on it about resources. They had said something else. But to me, I believe that resources is real wealth. Because when you have the resources, you can get anything done.
Well, Richie, you know what they say. You can't fly like an eagle when you're amongst pigeons.
Right.
So surround yourself with the right people.
Correct.
Well, that's it for today. We want to thank once again Becky Chernek for being with us today, and our sponsor, Rudy T. El Patron, for sponsoring today's episode with the Game Changer Conference. And here we are, Gameface Monday. Make sure you keep your game face on. I'm your co-host, Chris Gonzalez, with your host, Richie Bello, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday. Keep your game face on.